Hi, everybody. For today, first and foremost, I am both a keep Christ and the Mass in Christmas guy. And part of that, from where I sit, is recognizing that this time of year really sucks for some people. And, from a secular standpoint, there's a lot of shopping and a lot of partying and a lot of drinking and a lot of eating and a lot of baking and a metric what ton of advertising and marketing focused on getting us to do all of these things. There's also a lot of charity work and encouraging people to give to charities, which is great. But it makes the gift itself a bit of a buffer between the human giver and the human recipient. And it obscures the fact that there are a lot of people just getting by this time of year, if they're getting by at all. And I mean people in your neighborhood, people in your social media feed, people in the grocery store, you name it, people you actually see and walk by and talk to. And I think part of keeping Christ in Christmas is remembering they're all human beings made in the image of God. And they have names. They have stories. They have families, whether you know them or not. Some of these folks are brave enough to ask for help. Some of these folks are even brave enough to ask you and me for help. Now, when they do that, they have no way of knowing what the details of our lives are. They're just casting as wide of a net as they can. So, when people ask you for help, please do what you're able to do. There is never a good time of year to be in need. This time of year is especially awful because the public image we put on is one of everything being so awesome. And I get it. Nobody can do everything. It's uncomfortable. Maybe you're being asked out of the blue by somebody after you just did what you were able to do, or even maybe a little bit more than what you were really able to do for another person who asked an hour ago. All of that. Just remember that as uncomfortable as it is for us to be approached, it's even worse for the person asking. So even if you have to say no, treat them like a human being. See if there's anything you can do. See if there's at least a community kitchen or a toy drive or something you can hook them up with. Maybe they don't have the wherewithal even to do the Google search that would be really easy for you and me to do. At the very least, ask their names and offer your own. And if you see somebody who appears to be suffering in silence, ask them if they need help. Just whatever you do, be kind. They don't need your opinion about what their choices are or who they are, and just be as generous as you can be. Remember that it's expensive to be poor. Their story is ultimately not about you. And above all, that which you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you also did for me. And I don't particularly care if you don't believe that. I do. The story of our Lord is that of the redeemability of humanity. And this is one of the chief ways he describes in detail about how to get there. And you're helping a fellow human being because it's the right thing to do. Multiple things can be true. Moving on to something else. I'm not somebody who's really qualified to comment on news. However, I do want to take a minute to comment on something that I personally find funny as somebody who at least dipped his toe in journalism way back in the day. And that's this phenomenon of advertising presented as news articles side by side with actual news pieces. Maybe or maybe not with barely visible labels saying sponsored content. They're all for random objects represented as unverifiably taking social media by storm, cause-themed buyer guides, random numbers of gift suggestions for weird categories of people. I mean, just looking at a couple of real news sites in the last couple of days, you've got things like, yes, you should have a good stapler. These 3 are the best ones out there. Or, these are the 23 best gift ideas for people who wear shoes you don't like. This raincoat is absolutely blowing up Tinder. 82 Christmas presents for the flat earther in your life. Then there's this one. Top 10 American-made products you can shop for this holiday season for loved ones. Kitchen essentials, pet treats, home goods, and other American-made products to shop for this holiday season. Now, this is indeed on the news website you'd expect it to be, and while that doesn't in and of itself speak to whether or not the products have merit, it certainly reliably predicts the spin of the presentation. Patriotic metalworks such as aluminum, steel, and wood handmade flags. Leather wallets that symbolize a dedication to sustaining the rich legacy of American manufacturing. Tabasco sauce that shares a spicy bit of America with the world. As a side note, I do want to point out something about the number 1 item on this list. It's for American-made stainless steel cookware. The company, quote, emphasizes sustainability and environmental consciousness by manufacturing its products in the United States using eco-friendly methods, unquote. Now hold on. Stainless steel? Stainless steel is predominantly an import in the United States. And indeed, looking at the company's website, in the FAQ, it says, quote, our cookware and bakeware is made from metal sourced from South Korea, as there is not an American manufacturer for the unique stainless steel we use. They are, however, made in Wisconsin. Only the metal comes from South Korea. The only part of the cookware that is not made in America are the long handles. We are actively searching for suppliers to transition back to 100% sourced and made in America as we prefer it, unquote. To be clear, there is stainless steel made in America, so I assume that means that their, quote, active search for suppliers, unquotes, means that American-sourced stainless steel isn't cost-effective for them to use without breaking a particular price barrier. Fair enough. Everybody has to make choices about such things. And for the moment, at least, we're able to do so. Nonetheless, the number 1 item on a guide to American-made gift ideas on a news website that absolutely presents itself as being jingoistic as they come isn't even using American materials. And if that's true of number 1, I'm betting it's true of the majority of 2 through 10. Now, I have no doubt that everything on that list is quality and that there are great reasons to patronize these businesses. But the fact remains that buying American isn't the flex to own the libs that this news website's core audience thinks it is. Finally, for today, most recently on Barrett Costco Watch, I went back last week to get chocolate, cheese, bourbon, paper towels, gas, and a Christmas gift for one of my kids. This week, my wife went to get laundry detergent and some other last minute sundries. I decided against the 200 and whatever it was TV, 200 and whatever it was dollars TV. It kind of fell under the you can't get a good deal on something you don't want heading. I'm still sticking to my thesis that just because you can get something at Costco doesn't mean you should. Of course, these days, what that means is that I'm getting the TV from Amazon instead. And that's the subject of another video essay entirely. Hope everybody's having a wonderful run-up to the holiday season. Talk again soon.